going, so it's not like I know what to ask.
I think you read it, so.
I had to go through it now.
Is there captioning?
That's true.
I don't think so. It's not on.
No, there's, what is the story? What is it?
Yeah, so like the federal guidelines have, shifted
What is
towards
it?
being, accessible to everyone. So our university has taken this.
What are you trying to do? Presenter view. Go to view.
Seriously. So any video that gets posted
Presenter view.
to GoDuke.com.
Jeez, been too long.
Yeah,
So like,
yeah.
even our highlights.
I guess there's a woman who
Doesn't look
sued,
like it has his
who won a lawsuit in
style
like,
when you go to
in
that.
the Supreme Court, I guess.
Was there style to
And
it?
so now
appeared to
everything has
have
to be
it.
captioned.
No, I'm sorry. Maybe
It's
that
like, yeah.
red was my bad.
It's like 45, it's what they said it was 45 cents a minute or something for the one service that we're looking
Yeah,
at.
we're looking at a service and it doesn't do it instantly.
Yeah, no,
Even
you're
our
right.
highlights, like, we have to closed caption the announcers.
Really?
Those highlights, yeah.
So pretty soon there's be music and no announcers. Yeah, another year.
What are we doing?
I don't,
How are you?
I don't know how we're handling archived radio broadcasts, to be honest. Where, well, it's archived on our site, closed caption. So like, we put up, like, Duke soccer,
We have Coach Ron. Is my red light on?
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yes, her.
We got a sound check here.
I don't hear you. Are you sure you're not?
Not. It could be.
Look at this. What? I'm gonna go live. You hear me?
Yeah, your red light's on. I can see it from here. I can see your red light. All right.
It was on.
Unmute.
I'm on mute. You're on mute?
I am on unmute. How about now, Meredith? Test 2 test. 2. I'm 2. Can you hear me? WNEW. Metro. In New York. It's currently 55 degrees. It's cloudy. Traffic on the Major Deegan is backed up all the way to QE. It's going to be 30 minutes outbound on the Lincoln. George Washington lower level may be a better bet.
Yeah, but it still costs $12 to do it.
Yes, it does, and it's getting higher. Yeah. Hey! No, you're not. We haven't started. We're just testing our stuff. Good crowd tonight. We actually have a sponsor one of these months. Who is it? BSN. Yep. Is going to sponsor and going to provide food one night. That's like a big deal for us. Testing.
I can hear you. Sounds like I can hear you.
All right, should I try another one?
Little hectic getting here, but what's this one? Where are you?
You can try it.
All right. Let me try the other one. No, well, where's the other one? Matt, is it Chris? Well, does this work? It's just... We're making our debut tonight. So we want to make sure. May I just work? All right. You want to try me again on 2?
I hear you.
Was that better?
Yeah.
Is this better now? Okay. This was dangling, that's why. It was a dangling participle. How about this? How about now? Really? All right. I don't want this to be like cruddy and people are going to say, that was crud. Testing. Testing. 1, 2. Testing. Testing. No, that works, that's for sure. Still the same?
Yeah.
What how about now? No different. Should it be any different now? Should it matter?
Is that a test that doesn't find there here?
But now, we can do this to the button. This is the button right here.
Oh, no, that's fine. We just.
All right. I'm going to bored to death. Roger, where you been now? What kind of country you've been to?
London, Australia, Peru will be.
Next in November. I'll be back in time.
Okay. All right. And you were for CIA?
I can't, if I told you, I have to tell you.
All right. All right, that's all it is.
Play lacrosse and not teach.
All right.
Sydney, Honda,
Look at you, international travelers. We have Sean Salone, who played for us 2 years ago. He's in Australia. Where is he in Australia? Do you know? Works on a farm.
It's the only place you know.
Very happy. Salute. Yeah, I think Sean's playing. And one of the guys who's active in the youth in the development program is Luke Aaron's brother, who used to play here for
What
us.
is this?
He played goalie at Union College. Yeah, and he was goalie for the Australians. He was actually watching last year when we were showing the highlights of the U.S. versus Australia. He was actually watching it in Australia at the same time, which makes like 7 in the morning, right? 7 to 8 in the morning, something like that.
There's an Australian kid that's,
Nice. Very nice.
Just another marker.
For a while there, it was the kid Matt Schomburg, who faced off for Delphi, and Mark Mangan, who played at Delphi, and there were a bunch of Australians. It's kind of, yeah. I was going to say, some of them down. Great athletes. And they had great skills. They just couldn't. Offensively, they couldn't string. They didn't understand how to draw doubles and move the ball, and defensively, the second slides and that stuff was just. But they could run all day, and they could handle the rock. They're really good at that.
Oh, that's better.
Is that good?
Yep.
All right. When you're ready, give me the old Wayne's World. 3, 2, and we'll do that. I was just home with my daughters visiting from New York, and we have a 4-year-old grandson and a 2-year-old, and we were fishing in a pond. Caught a sunfish, was huge. And then we were walking away, and we had to have the pond drain because they had to fix one of the drains. And somebody put, years old. We've only been in the house 2 years, but there was a rubber, like alligator, crocodile that was that big. And we'll walk past it. My son-in-law said, "Scott, take a look over there by the bottle right there." And we were poking it with a stick. And then we picked it up, it was rubber. It was like, there were 3 parts to it, but it was pretty cool. Pretty cool. And then we had some remote control boats that went really fast. And because, again, my neighbor drained it, again, you had to fix this drain. And so I got the control of one of the boats and I ran it right aground, right in the mud. So until it gets to be high tide, we're not getting that one back. Got the one back, but not the other. I failed my navigating, my navigating skills. This is volume 13. This is the 13th year of doing this. Holy moly. Pretty incredible. And this bothers me. This bothers me.
Tape?
Yeah. From a summer camp.
Thank you.
Is it that old? It's a bunch.
I put white on it.
I mean, the men's lacrosse program has purchased all, this piece, that piece, the back, the projector, the whiteboards we purchased last year. And we did not purchase this. I'm holding back on.
So John, are you going to invest in any markers for the whiteboards? Those usually don't work too well.
The one black one does. We have one that does. It's early in the semester, so by October and November, by October and November, we should be okay. Soccer was a big win. They did a lot of X's and O's here over North Carolina. And our women's soccer team, we're hoping to get some more viewership and some more, not that means anything. I don't know what it means, but hopefully the more people will be enjoying it. And
We are good to go.
all right, so you tell me when you're ready.
I am ready. Go.
All right, well, welcome. Welcome to year number 13 of the Duke Men's Lacrosse Clinics. Kind of nervous tonight. I was telling the guys here in the audience that will be on the Duke Athletics YouTube channel, and for the first time ever. So it's on YouTube. We have to watch our language. We have to be politically correct. We have to do all of we cannot be irreverent anymore. We've got to behave in a way that we've never behaved in here. And so it makes me nervous. It makes me nervous that I'm going to say something really dumb and it'll go viral. And so here we go. All right, so September edition. And in September, we all start thinking about, wow, we're months away from the season, right? And we're not talking about, club programs, fall programs, winter. For all of us, the aim is the springtime. And so whether we're starting practice on January 15th or February 1st, all of us, as we say every year at this time, we're all undefeated. We probably ended the last season on a loss, and we did. And that happens, right? Only one coach really walks away happy at the end of the year. Unless you're coaching at the modified level where maybe you can go like 8-0 or 10-0, middle school or JV or whatever it is. But if you have a playoff, only one coach goes home happy. So at the end of the year, you spend all summer agonizing. What do we do wrong? Where are our mistakes? What are we going to do better? What do we have to focus on? And invariably, it still comes down to fundamentals. The game is it's a simple game, and while all the flashy stuff, which makes the every once in a while Sports Center top 10 something flashy will make the top 10. It's not that doesn't help you win games. What we believe helps you win games are the fundamentals, and the fundamentals don't go away. And we started practice this morning, this morning at 8 a.m. First fall practice of the year, right on September 30th. And we spent our last 5 weeks, we were lifting and running and doing some teaching, but no contact at all, and preparing for today. And all we did today in practice, and you're going to see it in a few minutes, is scooping, passing, catching, and fundamentals. And so, when the kids ask you, and you have to believe in something, right? You have to believe in what you're doing, and that's got to become loud and clear all the time. Every time that you are reinforcing a concept, or introducing a new one, reinforcing an old one, you have to have this really strong belief in what it is that you're doing. And we believe very strongly in that. We believe the better you can pick the ball up off the ground, pass and catch, that more fun you're going to have. And ultimately that's why we're playing, because it's fun. And here we go. So, well, first we got to start with a little philosophy. All right, we got to philosophize. The great philosophizer. Who was the great philosophizer, Ned? And from movie culture. I'm trying to think who the great philosophizer. This guy will probably know here. Next, Matt, who was the great philosophizer? What line was that? What movie was that from?
Googleizer?
The philosophizer.
I don't know.
Yeah, all right. Well, we'll have to look that one up. But you have to have some sort of philosophy as you begin your coaching year, and you're coaching for the long term. You're coaching for the end of the year, the last game. How do you want your team to look? You're coaching for sending those kids off to that next level. Maybe you're the JV coach, and you're preparing them for the varsity. You're the middle school coach, and you're preparing kids for the JV or the varsity, or you're working at the youth level and you're preparing kids for a lifetime of fun by teaching them the grassroots fundamentals. The passing, again, we said the scooping and the passing and catching and so on. And really, the way we look at it is this. It's real simple. We need to provide some structure. And whatever that means to you, whatever that structure of playing the game, that we need to provide structure on a daily basis, whether that's the structure of practice, or whether that's structure in what we teach, or how we teach, or where we place emphasis. But that's the structure of your program, right? That's the guts of it. And then there's some discipline that goes with that. Discipline not in a negative sense, not in corporal punishment or something that implies negative, but a discipline in doing the right thing at the right time. Doing that technique that's fundamentally sound, that's going to help that student be successful. And if you provide that structure and that discipline, it's going to give your students freedom to play the game, because they understand how to play it. They understand what is expected of them. They understand that they're going to make choices in the moment, because we have a spontaneous game, right? The game is spontaneous. It moves quickly. It changes. Coach, you said if I do this, it doesn't always work that way, right? Sometimes your opponent, right, has a say, and your opponent did something unexpected. And so now your students are going to be able to react on their own without you. All right? If you really want to, if you want to be a control freak, then maybe football might be, one of the sports that you may want to look at coaching. But for us, we need to, another way we've learned to kind of explain this, and we've used this in years past, we've said that the fundamentals are black and white, but the game is played in the gray. So the black and white is the structure and the discipline, but the gray is the freedom to make those decisions and choose and so on. So it's that's kind of our philosophy and I explained that to the guys today after practice. And I talked about just this. So what I'm telling you is the same thing that I'm telling our guys every day. When we coach, we had the opportunity to coach with the U.S. national team 2 years ago, 2 summers ago now. Same thing. We got it. We didn't meet a lot, but we needed some structure that everybody could agree upon, so everybody would understand where everybody is supposed to be, and so there's got to be some discipline to that, and with that, just go out and play. All right. So. All right, so now we got practice planning, right? So we got to plan for our stick skills and the development of our stick skills. Everybody can get better, right? Everybody can get better at every level. Depends upon, all these things we always talk about. We talk about what are your resources? How many coaches are you working with? How many balls do you have? The story I tell every year that in high school we had 6 balls for practice, and if we didn't turn in 6 balls at the end of practice, we had to run 5 cross countries around the East Meadow High School physical plant for every ball that was missing. And you know, I think back to that, and I guess we didn't really practice shooting a lot. You know, with 6 ball, I'm not even quite sure how we practiced. And I'm not making this up. This is not myth or anything, but this, you know, it's a true story. And so, you know, how many balls do you have? How many cones? How many cages? You know, do you have a large fence that can back up missed shots? You know, do you have a wall where guys can go on the wall? You know, what are your resources? What opportunities do you have to work with your, you know, how many hours do you have? Do you have an hour, hour and a half, 2 hours? How long can your students handle practice? You know, all those things go into your pre-practice preparation. So you do have those long-term and you have those short-term goals. Long-term goals and short-term goals require patience, right? If my long-term goal is at the end of the year, I want my students to be able to scoop with both hands and to understand, you know, when that's appropriate. You know, the short-term goals, you know, might be at least I want them to try and fail, and it's okay that they fail. One of the big things in athletics that kids learn, I heard a great term today, that when you go to college, you really kind of get a dual major, right? Your major is your academic piece, that's one major, and your second major is the team that you're on. It is all the skills and all the neat things that you learn in being a student athlete. And so failure is a big deal, right? And trying. And hey, you know, when students say, hey, I'm not good at that, and your answer is, yeah, you're right, you're not good at it, all right? But you're going to get better if you practice and if you work at it. So, you know, and then time allotment for both, and understanding, hey, how much time am I going to spend on each one of my drills? Can I, you know, and when do I spend it? Can I do it before practice? Can I, you know, and what are the routines? And we'll show you some of those things. We have a term we call heat the sticks that really should be in italics right here. Heat the sticks. That's my fault. That's not gooder English. You know, I can get gooder at that. You know, we do it stationary, standing still. We do it mobile, meaning moving. And what are the post-practice opportunities? 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 5 minutes on the wall. You know, 5 minutes with your weak hand or your non-dominant, if you want to be politically correct. All right, don't want to tell anybody that they have a weakness. Could you imagine? Wait till they're married. They'll have plenty of people telling them about their weaknesses. Oh, my wife might be watching. I gotta be careful. All right, so first things first. What's your plan? What's your plan for developing stick skills? Once again, the better you can pass and catch, the more fun you're going to have. Picking the ball off the ground. If you can't pass and catch, ooh, baby. X's and O's, strategy, going to be very difficult. It's going to be a long year. So, and these are some of the things you can start thinking about now while your young men are in the off season. You know, maybe they're playing football, but they can pick up their stick, you know, on a Sunday, you know, for 20 minutes and, you know, shoot or bang the ball off the wall or go out with a friend, or, you know, maybe you have a plan for the winter time when football is over, or soccer, or, you know, whatever the fall sports are involved in. So, you know, these are all things to consider. Nice transition. I'm getting good, right? In the beginning, never made those transitions. I don't know if you guys noticed that out in the Twitter sphere, the internet, interweb, but I'm telling you, that's a heck of a transition. All right, so first thing is scooping. First thing we taught today, ball's on the ground, got to pick it up. All right, sounds silly. We had our alumni game this past weekend, and there was one of our alums was out there with like his 5-year-old son, and he was very proud. He had his stick, and he told his son, "Don't pick it up with your hand, scoop it." I thought that's where it starts. Can't pick it up with your hand. And then eventually the young man, you know, he scooped the ball and he threw it, and, you know, we clapped, and that's way to go. And that's where it starts. You know, sounds really silly, sounds really elementary, but, you know, scooping is just physically picking the ball up off the ground. We have a couple of really simple sayings, and if you don't pick it up the first time, try again. Wow, that was pretty complicated, right? Division I coaching, and if you don't pick it up on the second try on the third. Just keep trying until you pick it up, or your opponent picks it up, or a teammate picks it up, but you just keep trying. And that's, patience, perseverance, battling an opponent. It sounds silly, but it's and you're going to see this in a little bit of video that we're going to show you in a little while when we scrimmaged today. On offense, and here's the 3 ways that we kind of categorize ground balls. An offensive ground ball, right? We split the field in half, the midfield line. Anything on one side of the midfield line is offense. Anything on the other side is defense. And really anything between the restraining lines would be between the lines. In offense, we always, one of the terms that we use all the time is move it off the ground. Right? We want to scoop the ball and move it off the ground. We don't want to dodge. We don't want to feed. We just want to move it. Right? Defensively, we want to run to daylight. Now we start getting into a little bit of just basics of the game because you start to move quickly. As soon as you start anything, then there's more questions. But defensively, we have on offense, we have 6, they have 6, and the hope is that we can get the defense out of position. On defense now, we run in daylight because we have 7 and they have 6. So because we have an extra man, that once we pick up the ball, we want to hold on to possession of the ball. One of the things we said to the team today, and then between the lines, we want to get the ball going our way. Means if you bend down and scoop the ball, it may bounce off your shaft, it may bounce off your knee or your thigh or your foot, but just get it going in your direction towards our goal. All right? Let's try not to rake the ball. Let's try not to stop it. Let's just get it going in our way. All right? And a big concept for us is we want to teach both hands. Listen, all sorts of philosophies. Just play with your dominant hand. That's if that people want to teach that, that's fine. It's not, but this just happens to be what we teach, because we want our body between the ball and our opponent. Just like in basketball, when we're dribbling, we want our body between that defender, right, and the ball, so he can't get to it. We're not going to dribble here in front of the defender. Same thing. We want to be able to pick up the ball and have that. And so as soon as we gain possession, our body is between the ball and our opponent. And that's why we teach that. The majority of the time, kids are going to use their dominant or their strength. They're going to go to their strength. But in that time where they need to pick up the ball in that big situation, you're only going to be able to do that if you've got a lot of muscle memory and you've overtrained that and you expect them to do that. And again, one of the comments that coaches are going to make here tonight is we play the percentages. Talked to the guys this morning about the percentages. But coach, why do we do that? Because it's a higher percentage if you learn how to use your non-dominant hand, higher percentage of success once you gain confidence, as opposed to exposing your stick to the opponent where he can just check it as soon as you pick it up. So now what we're going to do, we're going to segue. All right, the first set of ground ball drills that we did today. And what we're going to do is, while we're transitioning here, this is very high-tech stuff, all right? And it's extremely complicated, and it involves just actually just moving two laptops, so, and then plugging it back in. But we're going to show you right now exactly what we're talking about. And Coach Matt Danowski is going to step up with a microphone. Do you have a microphone?
Just got one, yeah.
Okay. Coach Matt Danowski is going to step up, and we're going to see, can you see that, Meredith, well?
Yeah, you might want to turn like the front lights on.
You want the front light on?
See if that, he'll turn, yeah.
There we go.
That's probably better.
No, that's not 6 in the morning. We would never practice at 6 in the morning. And the main reason for that is the coach does not want to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning to be here for a 6 o'clock practice. All right, we're at 8 o'clock in the morning. I'm going to say that the lens, the iris probably was a little bit, not open enough. But Matt?
First day for the managers. They're rusty too.
Yes. Yeah, it was the first day for our managers as well. And even though he was a senior, sitting in there doing this, he'll get better, I promise.
Go ahead, Mr. Ned. So this is ground balls on the offensive end. You can do this anywhere on the field. I choose to do it by the goal line extended because I like to use the crease as a coaching cue, just in terms of spacing. All right, so what we're working on here is as we roll the ball out and freeze. Okay, the guy whose job to pick up the ball, his only job is to sprint through it. I don't really teach him technique. Tell him to be an athlete. Drop their hands low, bend their knees, bend their hips, sprint through the ground ball. Okay, so when we do a scrapping drill later, if you don't sprint through it, someone's going to check you really hard and maybe miss your hands and hit you in the knee and you'll be hurt. All right, so sprint through the ground ball. The adjacent teammate, okay, his job is to get shoulders above his stick head. Okay, get chest to chest. So you look at him, stick on stick. So if he's picking up righty, stick is in his left hand here. His chest is looking at his chest, his shoulders above his stick head. Okay, creating a passing lane, not letting the ball get knocked down. We don't teach man ball. We don't want to send two guys to the ball if there's only one defender going to pick it up. We just want our guy to beat the one guy. All right, so the job is to get stick on stick, right, chest to chest, and get above the guy who's picking up the ground ball. Okay, we call that getting in the mirror. Okay, and then after that, make one simple pass just to, guys like to shoot the ball, right? Stick on stick, get above the ball. Right, I try to get him to, it's a really bad job right there by that guy. Should be righty. That's a good job getting above the ball right there.
Hey, you want to talk about, we're teaching poles as well?
Sure, yep. Again, if you cross the midfield line for us, you are an offensive player. So, there could be goalies in this drill, there could be poles in this drill. The one thing I think I'm talking to them here is cleaning up their vocabulary, right? We have some fifth-year seniors on the team. We have some freshmen on the team. They all kind of have their own verbiage. So we just want to try to get the verbiage on the same page in terms of, we say mirror left or mirror right, so they know to pick it up. They can just look to the left or look to their right, and then one more. So we try to simplify their terminology, right? It's a good job getting above the ball right there. And again, getting downhill. Yeah, that was a fifth year right there who was probably using a little bit different conversation. So, and again, you can do this, hopefully ended right there. You can do this going this way, you can do it going that way, you can do it going away from the goal, right? What we're really trying to teach is if you're the adjacent teammate and you are not picking up the ground ball, to get in the mirror, right? Just to be a really good teammate and to move fast without the ball, right? A lot of times guys just kind of hang out, watch and wait. We want them to be engaged and want to play fast without the ball on their stick. It goes along with thinking 2 plays ahead. It goes into a lot of stuff that we do offensively, but that's kind of the first part of it.
Coach Crotty, you want to
switch?
Grab this one. Ned Crotty was a finalist for the PLL Midfielder of the Year, right? Played for the Chromios, and I personally had a vote, and I voted for Coach Crotty. I just want to make that known.
Thank you. So before this is called the gauntlet drill. I remember doing this in 3rd grade, very basic drill. Before this, first thing we did was just ball at the feet, like JD was saying earlier, kick it, get it going our way. One thing I did with the long poles was have it start behind them and have them pull it out as if they're in a face-off scrum and try to pull the ball out to themselves. And then the second part of the drill was this. Again, very simply, guys lined up, sticks out in front of them, and tell the offensive player, the guy getting the ground ball, just get low. Again, like JD mentioned earlier, the middle of the field, whether it's a face-off or a turnover, the big thing is just to get the ball going our way. We teach the technique of just getting down low, both hands low and running through it. That way, if we don't pick it up, it's moving the direction that we are, and hopefully get a second chance opportunity at it. Obviously, we preach first-time ground balls, but if we don't get that, try again. So just laid it out here. Tell the guys as we go on, a little bit more pressure. They always have a little bit of fun with it. Yeah, and that's it. Beautiful.
That was quick.
It was a great drill.
Hey, we've got Coach Ron Caputo back with us for year number 13. Of course, our first coach was Coach Matt Danowski, who's here for year number 7?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, year number 7, Coach Caputo, year number 13. Coach, how about a highlight, though, of the wedding? Coach was at a wedding this weekend. How about on the dance floor? You know, you want to talk about anything about the wedding?
No.
All right, there we go.
Okay, ground balls in the defensive end. What we have going on here is we want them to pick up the ground ball, like Coach said, in their outside hand. One of the things we stress on the defensive end, everywhere actually, is we want to get our hands below our knees, both hands below our knees, especially for the poles, okay? And when we pick it up, their job is to look upfield first to see if there's a headman opportunity. We actually have them saying the words headman so that we know they're looking. So if you see, a 28's going to pick it up, he's going to look upfield, and then he's going to hear the second player in line is the imaginary goalie, and he's yelling redirect. So we're also getting some terminology in. We know that it's easiest to get out if we get headman. But if they cover it, we need to be able to turn it back. So it's pick it up, yell headman so that we know you're looking at it, throw your stick out. We're not doing a great job of throwing our stick out to the sideline or to the end line. And got a freshman who's turning inside, turning outside. That's all right. There's another one, looks at it, turns, redirects the ball. Hands below the knees, especially for the poles. If they pick it up below their knees and it gets taken away, they can keep kicking it and moving it. If they pick it up and bring their hands up, it's a problem. And the other part of it is if they don't get both hands below the knees, the attackman will lift up the backhand easy on them.
And Coach, just want to talk about using the left hand now?
Left hand, you get a good look at it, same thing. Scooping with your outside hand there so you can quickly get it up. If he picks this up and there's a breaking midi, he could throw it right to him. If he picks it up with his right hand here, certainly there's guys who can flip it, and there's moments for that, but it's not the tougher play. You want to practice doing it right. Pick it up in your left hand. If there's someone head manning, you could throw it to him. If not, turn away from pressure, throw it right to the goalie.
And while drills are never perfect, it's almost, if I freeze it for a second, we always want to play pretend. If students ask, well, why are we doing this? And why? And we're saying, listen, we can get a lot of repetitions in a very short time. We're pretending that there's a riding opponent right in here, and he's trying to take the ball away from you. So by scooping the ball with your outside hand, you have your body between the ball and the opponent. You didn't see anybody open, but you always want to look. We make them look upfield first. Look upfield, nothing there, curl away. But you're playing pretend a lot when you do skeleton drills, right? We call skeleton drills, no contact, no opponent, just getting a lot of reps in a short period of time. There's 3 drills going on that you've seen. This is the 3rd. We do this in 12 minutes, and everybody does everything, right? Everybody does everything. So everybody runs between the lines, everybody gets defensive reps, everybody gets offensive reps. And not the whole season, but certainly, for as we introduce all the different concepts. And there's that drill once again. Can we just run back and we'll just show them the goalie stuff that we were doing? All right, so, again, we have the luxury of 4 coaches, so we can break everything into 4 groups. But you're going to see here, we're working with the goalies on the wall right now, and we're working on off-stick side high. And before, we were sequencing and we were doing a bunch of different drills. But again, it's the first day that these guys are, we've been doing some individual work, but first day they're out, and we're working on just stepping laterally, bringing the stick across the face, and reacting very quickly with the ball coming off the wall. So we got goalies working, we got guys learning 3 different groups, of ground ball techniques, at the same time over the course of 12 minutes. For us, it's efficient, and it uses all our resources. We have a wall, we have a full field, we have a recruit and his dad in the corner watching. Good. All right, so now we're going to plug back here. So now, again, we try to do everything sequential so it kind of makes sense to the students. We have to explain to them why it's going to make sense to them. But it makes sense to us so that we can build on this, so that we can build on everything that we've just done. We can build on scooping. We can build, on the right and left hand, because the rest of the year, from now until the end of the year, the ball is going to be on the ground a whole bunch. Now, this is going to sound really silly, right, to everybody listening, but once again, we believe this. When the ball is on the ground, we want to get to the ball faster than our opponent. And that's what we were just talking about before. When Matt was saying sprinting, you got to teach kids not to slow down, to sprint through a ground ball. And that's a very difficult concept initially. You know, they want to go half speed, they're looking around, hey, is there somebody else there? This idea of just sprint through the ground ball and see what happens, all right? No matter where that is on the field. If we have the ball, the other team doesn't. If the other team doesn't have the ball, they can't score. Sounds silly, but it's true. If we have the ball, doesn't mean we're going to score, but it means we have a chance to score. And that's, again, trying to keep the game simple. When that ball is on the ground, if guys are flying to the ball, they may not pick it up every time, but the chances are probably greater if they have that attitude that if our team has the ball, they won't score and we have a chance to. So keep the game simple. Don't try to overcomplicate it. All right, so we just saw that, right? So we just saw the scooping drills. This is first is individual techniques, right? Offense, move it off the ground. Defense, run to daylight. Between the lines, get it going your way. Now the second phase is, let's take a look at now when you're starting to play with some teammates. It's not always about the individual technique. Offense, we call it swarming. Defense, we call it breaking out. And then, well, we won't even get to this today, but we'll just do the swarming and the breakout part. So we're going to show you that now as we move to the next set right here. Now, some of you more advanced IT guys, geeks, as we might call them, would say, well, why don't you embed the video in the presentation? But you know, we know our limitations here on what we can and can't do and what our strengths and weaknesses are. And between our own team and recruiting right now, this is what you're going to get. All right?
Okay, so now we're swarming the offensive end, which is more moving away from the individual kind of work of sprinting through the ground ball and then getting adjacent, you know, and getting in the mirror. So now we're working with 6 guys at the same time. So, Ned, you can run it. I don't think I do a great job early here. I think I do a better job. So you see the guy get in the mirror. We want to try to move it twice, and then we want to try to attack opposite. Now, we have everybody playing every position here. So you'll see some poles playing attack. You see some D middies playing attack. You see some attackmen playing midfield. The idea being, you know, whatever offense you run, or if it's in transition and people are kind of everywhere, you know, you never know where you're going to end up. So just get in and get to a good spot. So you'll see us hopefully throw the ball forward and throw it back. So Riley picks up with his outside hand here, which is a good job. We get in the mirror, and we got a close defenseman down there, and he can't catch a throw. We're being really positive right now, and we have no fear of failure, so we're not yelling at anybody and saying, catch the ball, please. We're just saying, get the next one. And we make...
Will that change as the season goes on?
Never. We're a positive reinforcement staff here. And the goal here is, when you're playing with 6 offensive guys who do it a lot, is to try to score within 7 seconds. And when you're playing with a couple guys who aren't really used to playing offense, we just want to connect a couple passes in a row and get a shot off, really. Right? So we try to have the guys change positions. We just got a diagonal cut and a back out, you know, and again, we're just trying to be really well spaced. So we have a forward, we have a back, we got an inside, and a couple through lanes. Yeah, can you just fast forward to the, I think when the second group comes around, I throw one forward and one back. No, that was another ground ball drill. This is another ground ball. Okay, here we go. All right, so this is one forward here. So we pick the ball off the ground. We throw it forward this time. We throw it one more. Now we're attacking opposite from the top of the field down. Right, so we sprint through the ground ball. Yeah, we want to move it twice off the ground, but if it makes sense just to move it once, like right there, then you just move it once. You know, again, that's a D midi throwing it inside to a, I think that's actually an attackman who caught and finished it. And now we're just moving some guys around and doing it. So again, it's a 6-person drill, right? We all want to be involved. Everybody's moving towards the ball. My freshman boy Frizz right there, playing on the wing. Now he's the double X guy. You know, the timing's a little funky, but everybody's getting the spacing down, which is, you know, what we're trying to get out of it. The offensive guys get frustrated a little quicker because the guys aren't picking up, you know, they know it a little better. That's a good job, everybody moving together right there. Spacing's a little funky. Yep, a simple back out and a cut and a forward pass. And that just hit me down the leg.
I would add to this that the swarming concept, now we're going to swarm again. Right, so we're going to kind of keep playing. But the swarming concept is all 6 guys have got to be moving. Right, that we don't want, when the ball is on the ground, we don't want one guy chasing and 5 guys watching. We want all 6 moving. Like all 6 guys now are moving.
Yeah, can you freeze right there? Sorry, Ned, can you roll it back a little bit? We're just about to pick it up. So what we're thinking here, that, you know, for us, this guy's sprinting through the ground ball. That's his job, right? We got a mirror left, we got a mirror right, then we kind of have a safety valve here. So he's got to move with the ball. If he duffs it, misses it, if he gets pushed off the line, then he can come kind of help out. But he's just kind of a safety valve. And then we got a couple guys who are just thinking 2 plays ahead, right? So he's thinking, if they throw to him, I'm ready to catch it and go. Right? If they throw to him, I got to show up and be the outlet. So the 2 guys on the farthest away from the ball, kind of just hanging out, thinking 2 plays ahead, just keeping the field balanced. Right? If they get too far heavy this way or too far heavy this way, we might miss an opportunity to move it twice and get a dunk, especially if they're sending 2 defensemen at this ball right here. Right? So we want to be well spaced. We can flip the field from the strong side, which is right here where it's kind of heavy, to the weak side of the field, you know, with ball movement. Once, twice, ideally, if 3 times, you're probably going to get settled down and everybody's going to get matched back up. So you just want to move it fast off the ground. It's a good job of turning away from pressure right there. Yeah, we got a couple guys cutting. We got the old double cut working. You know, so the spacing is a work in progress.
Now, one of the things also that what we do is, as Matt's alluded to a couple of times, it gets a little frustrating, you know, for the offensive guys, especially guys who've been in your program for a little while. But, you know, we might do this once or twice early in the year, and then we may do this once every couple of weeks. But we won't, you know, maybe Thursday we'll have just the attack and just the offensive middies. And we'll keep the D middies down the other end, you know, with the poles. But at least we're teaching them that. Under the assumption that by teaching everybody everything, it raises the individual IQs and the collective IQs, the lacrosse IQs of the team. So if the defense, you know, if a defenseman understands what we're doing on offense, it makes him a better defender, you know, on the ball, off the ball, and understanding just general concepts. So that's really important to us as well. All right, want to fast forward to the...
Can he go to X off that first pass too?
Back on
that ball on the wing?
Sorry.
He could. I mean, so the question was, right, freeze, sorry, Ned. Yep, if Bedore picks, he's going to throw that one away. If, there it is. If this guy picks it up on the wing here, can he go to X with it? And, you know, obviously the answer is yes. You can throw it to whoever you want. And then this guy would have to make a decision, freeze. Is he too far over on this side? Does he have to get below the goal line now so he can move it twice and then attack opposite? You know, if he catches over here and then runs 10 yards, that's not going to help us get anything on the weak side, right? So then this guy has to just think 2 plays ahead. He's furthest away anyway. Drop below the goal line, be an outlet and go. And then we can run our motion stuff up top. Or is the ball going this way where he can just get it a little bit this way so he can attack opposite? You know, that's a read for everybody to have. But, of course, he can go back with it. If he does, you know, we just don't want to run the ball 10, 15 yards. We'd rather move it twice and then go. So that's a little advanced for this drill right now. So I set it up so that if I want the ball to go to X, he'll get the ground ball. And if I want the ball to go up top, he'll get the ground ball. Just so we get the move it twice concept down. And then once we get better at it, you know, then if I roll it down here, that guy can make the read and we can go twice. But I try to set it up so that the ball is moved twice for them.
And once again, what we're trying to do is we're trying to establish, hey, the ball's on the ground, run through it, individual technique. Ball's on the ground in the offensive end, swarm. So when we yell swarm, 6 guys should be moving. Whether it was a busted transition and there's a pole down there, or, you know, no matter, you know, who's down that end, that's what we want to try to accomplish, and that's why we teach that. All right, so now we do the same thing on the defensive end, right? We got 2 coaches down here. We got 7 guys inside the paint, right? Defending our imaginary opponent. And we do, what we call breakouts. And you'll see our breakout patterns, and you'll also see knowing what we call know your spots on the field. Know your vocabulary, so you know where your teammates are, and so it's this very simple communication, and that everybody understands, everybody can get on the same page.
Okay, the ball is going to be on the ground, either in the paint or on the edge of the paint. So we have the goalies make the calls here. The goalies call all the spots on the field that they want the ball thrown to. So this could be this guy should be out here. Somebody told him, get out of there. And we have the floater. Stop right there. We call this Maverick. Can we rewind that a little bit? Ned? From the old movie Top Gun. If this midi breaks back, and there's a midi in front of him, he puts on the brakes, lets him fly right by. Goes right back to the ball. So we call this Maverick. And the goalie right here is yelling Maverick. So when he throws it to the corner, he comes back to the ball, turns to the outside, and then he's yelling middle, high and away. And then he's telling him hit the floater. Now obviously we wouldn't go backwards if we're clearing the ball, but during the course of this drill, we want all the guys to hear all the spots called out by name and have the ball thrown to those spots. So once everybody touches it, we go to the next group of players. 7 more. Coach Crotty has the ball in the middle. Everybody gets in the paint. Ball gets rolled out. Goalie's making a call. Ball's in the redirect. He swings it. Trying to hit the floater. Overthrew him. This man tried to get out of the way because he thought he was going to run. But you can see the spacing on the settle clear. Throw it over. All right, fast forward to the next group.
So the goalie's making that call. He's yelling at him.
He's making the call to the guys. He's the leader of it. He yelled right up, right up. What's the call? We lost it, so we fired it in. Headman here. Headman. Now, the calls are still being made. Hit the floater. Hit the corner. Next one? No. Stop. Ground ball, he picks it up. Headman again. You can see, this is absolutely the first game. There you go. Try that again. Picked it up. Headman. You can go backwards, you can have the Mavericks. Doesn't matter. All the spots on the field. Let's go one more in. Go. Hit the corner, hit the redirect, hit the floater. Hit Boston, and we had a freshman turning inside. So after that, we had to run.
And let's explain that. Why do we run? Oh yeah, let's see it.
You catch the ball, you want to turn it to the side, just to protect yourself from running into the bad guys that are coming at you. So even in skeleton drills, we are asking nicely for our student athletes to catch the ball turning outside. And if they don't, this is what happens.
The guy who did it though is not running.
No, he doesn't have to run. He can watch.
But he's running.
No, he's not running. You'll see him in a second. This is stick. Smart enough, even as a freshman, to stay out of the camp.
But the idea is, and that's where that discipline concept comes in. I don't want to be the guy that causes my teammates to run. So, you know, I want to do the right thing. And again, it's reinforced that even though it's a skeleton drill, and it might seem silly, you know, to some of the kids and say, well, you know, what's the big deal? The big deal is in a game when that riding team retreats and they backpedal and now the ball is in the air and they step up and you turn to the inside, you expose yourself to somebody who's maybe taking a running 20-yard start at your internal organs, right? Which is like right in here. If you catch the ball and turn to the outside, now your back is to them and you're running away from the riding team. And that's why we do that. And I always get a big kick when I watch Will Hawes play in the PLL. And if you watch Will catch the ball, he turns to the outside. And it's been ingrained in Will. And he's also a coach. And so when he does it, you know, it's really kind of gratifying, actually. All right, so we go from individual technique to group technique, right? And it was today, right now it's all skeleton. First day, introducing these concepts. And again, you know, we will do these, you know, several days a week during the course of the year. Passing and catching. So now once we pick it up, now the idea is passing and catching. Passing, the ball moves faster in the air than it does by running. How many times have you heard that? Right? We hear that a lot. All right? So pass, move the ball, right? Catching, keep your eye on the ball. Possession is 9/10 of the law, right? You know, again, we have a hard time teaching some of this stuff because, you know, to you in these clinics, when we really start in the first month, because, you know, we don't really spend a lot of time on the technique of catching, you know, giving with, looking it in, you know, giving a little bit, having soft hands, choking up on the stick in the, you know, in the beginning. So all the different techniques that you can use, but, you know, it's an important part of the game. And passing and catching, repetitions. Passing on offense, we break it down into two ideas. Exchanging the ball, meaning passing it from one offensive person to another, or feeding the ball. Throwing the ball, you know, passing the ball to a teammate who's in position to score a goal. Could be a cut, you could be standing still. Feeding and exchanging the ball we consider are two different concepts. You know, catching, we'll show you breaking in and out. We won't show you backdoor today. We'll show you a little bit of cutting and a little bit of step in and step down. We'll show you that as well. And then on defense, you know, it's the same thing. Exchanging the ball between defenders, between a defender and a goalie and a LSM and a D-midi, an overpass, throwing the ball over the goalie, throwing the ball 40, 50, 60 yards in the air, an overpass, catching. Sometimes they're standing still, sometimes it's on the run, sometimes it's over the shoulder, but a lot of different ways you're going to be catching the ball. And then passing between the lines is always on the run, never really standing still. It's leading the receiver, right? So your shoulders are square and you're throwing the ball, and we'll show you some examples of that. And then it's catching between the lines on the run. It's almost like different type of routes and catching the ball over the shoulder. And we're going to show you some of those as well. And so now we'll flip. Yeah, let's just do all.
Yeah, partner passing.
So we're going to show you all the drills that we do. You know, when it comes to stick skills and developing our stick skills, and going back to that idea before about heating up the sticks, we're going to show you that as well. Again, it seems really basic. You know, you're a Division I program, and this is really what you guys do, and it is. This is not. We're not making this up just for the clinic tonight. Matt.
So we use about 2.5 right here. So there's half on the school line. It's about 5 yards apart, and the other half of the team is over there. Two coaches with each group. One coach calling out what the guys should be doing, and then 4 coaches kind of walk around and making sure they're fundamentally sound. So simple as just right to right, making sure the left foot is forward, pointing at the target, catch, half a cradle, move it. You want to try to keep the stick head above your shoulders at all times, right? So we don't want guys catching, dropping their hands, being relaxed. Really good body language, sense of urgency. It's a bad job by Bedore picking up all with one hand right there, right? But we're trying to get a high amount of reps in a 5-minute period, right? So how many reps can we get in possibly here? So we go left to left, right? This group down here at the bottom is doing a pretty good job. Those are 2 of our better midfielders. Just putting the ball on the line. You see the stick head stay above their shoulders. Just goes from ear to ear, in, half a cradle, and out. So we'll go left to left. We'll do over the shoulders in this. We'll do hand exchange in this. And the poles are doing it. Short stick's doing it. Goalies, everybody's involved. One thing with the poles is that 5 yards is a little tight. So if it's 2 poles having a catch, you remember to back them up to 7, just because it's hard for them to get it going in that short amount of time. Again, we have the luxury of having a lot of balls and a lot of coaches. I'm not sure what these 2 guys are coaching up here at the moment, but on the other end, we're heavily involved in the mix. Guys got backup balls, kind of spread throughout, so they shouldn't have to go and chase one. At least for us, we have a bunch of them. And again, this is a 5-minute period. We start practice with this a lot. Today we kind of threw it in the middle of practice, but we'll do this almost every day, if not every day. It's a long one, left to left here.
Should be 1 minute. Today was 1 minute on each.
So here's our hand exchange. Okay, we try to, again, keep the stick head above our shoulders the whole time, flip our hips around, get our front foot pointed at the target. Okay, for offensive guys, we do this one a lot.
Now, you want to talk about the concept of flipping the hips?
Yeah, again, we want to be sideways when we throw the ball. You don't want to be square to your target like this. You just want to be sideways, so when you catch, hand exchange, flip your hips, hand exchange, flip your hips around, just so your front foot is always pointing forward. If your hips are square like this, you're not going to get, it's going to take you long. You have to step back, then step forward. So if you catch it sideways and then flip your hips, throw it sideways, it translates a lot into zone offense, translates a lot into, our 6-on-6 stuff. So we try to catch, hand exchange, and flip our hips around just so our front foot is always pointed forward. Who's that, Sergeant Holka at the bottom there? Right, so we do everything with both hands. And the last minute is what, over the shoulder? Snively. Yep. So then the last minute is over the shoulder. Again, we're trying to, like, if you're catching over the shoulder lefty, you catch here, and then just turn and throw it to your teammate, spin back around, catch it over the shoulder, palm, curl to you, bottom hand down, catch, half a cradle, move it that way. So again, we just get a bunch of reps in over the shoulder without having to, well, you'll see it in the next group work drill where you do it a little more active, but so we do it static first, get the fundamentals down, then we'll do it active when we're actually moving and trying to catch it over the shoulder.
We'll say this, if there's anything in terms of your coaching organization, if you can not schedule practice next alongside the women's practice, they place a huge emphasis on communication constantly. And if you're really trying to focus and really work with your team, it can be a distraction. I'm just kidding, actually, but no, I'm not.
So this is just a simple 2-man, 1-ball drill. The emphasis here is to always run with your stick head in front of your body, right? So we got righties on the near sideline here, lefties on the far sideline, always keeping our sticks upfield. If our stick is behind us, we'll catch and open ourselves up to being slid to. If our stick is in front of us, we can avoid that. So the emphasis is on, obviously now, playing while moving and then leading our teammates, right? Throw the ball in front of them so they can catch and they can play. This is a really good drill that leads. These 2 drills back to back are 2 good drills that lead into our full field breakouts. Right, so now we're practicing, catching over the shoulder. We're practicing catching the ball, running with our sticks in front of our face, catching with our sticks in front of our face, and then it's a good drill for maintaining the relationship. So if one guy drops it, you go with him and pick it up. So maintain this distance. This is about 10 yards away at the moment. Right. Offensively, we're putting a big emphasis on this fall of throwing the ball hard, 10 to 15 yards away. Exchanging the ball fast in the perimeter. So this is a good drill for that. So it's a good example. Right, one guy drops it, they just move and maintain the relationship. Who's this guy? Can't pick it up. Oh yeah, all right. Looks like number 6 from last year too. Right. So we'll do it. And we'll do it a little wider. This one gets a little funky. You can see the older guys are much better at this drill. They throw the ball harder, longer distances. Right, so same drill now, just a little bit further away. A bounce pass right there. Never easy playing with a goalie in this drill because they got to use their weak hand as they throw the ball far away. Good for them, hard for the teammate.
But everything we've done has been an equal combination of right hand and left hand. Passing righty, passing lefty, catching righty, catching lefty. It doesn't change.
Oh, just have to move. Got to pick up the ball. That should be it for this section.
All right. Okay, hey, listen, as we're transitioning back, we got some Twitter shout-outs right here. All right, we got my man that's watching tonight from Bethpage, New York, home of Roger Davis, sitting right here. All right, one of the original Golden Eagles. All right, and we've got the Towson High School General, boys lacrosse, is watching tonight. Towson, Maryland. We got somebody who's watching from Oak Creek, Wisconsin. And then Castle High School in Newburgh, Indiana. So always get a big kick out of, where's everybody watching from? Our boy Adam Gilman from the Utah Utes, all right, is checking us out tonight. And he knows all this stuff anyway, all right? And so thanks, everybody. Thanks for watching. All right. So the partner passing. And then sometimes Coach Caputo kind of likes this one. We put 2 balls in there. So that same drill, 2 balls in the air. So it requires a little more concentration, a little more focus. Every once in a while the ball will collide in midair and then 2 guys got to chase the ball and spread out. And if you're feeling adventurous and you're feeling like you want to have some fun with it, you can do the same thing with 2 balls. That two down the field, you can add 3 down the field. And you can put a ball player in the middle, put 2 to the outside, 5 or 10 yards apart. You can run down the field, or you can weave the basketball drill. Right? The only thing with the weave is you got to make sure that they have aiming points to get to on the perimeter. Meaning, if I throw the ball right now to Coach Crotty, I've got to get to a spot. Now, it used to be on a football field, if you practice on a football field, maybe it's the hash marks if they're a little wider. You got to get to the hash marks, before you get upfield. Maybe you put cones out there. But if you ask the kids just to weave, they're going to just take about 5 or 10 yards and it'll get all gummed up. And you go behind the man you're passing to. So he's got the head of his stick upfield. You have the head of your stick upfield. You throw the ball, right? And then you switch hands. And then as you get in that lane, then your stick is upfield. So your stick is always upfield, not behind you. The offensive perimeter passing, defense know your spots. You saw before. Did we have the perimeter passing on that? The one that Matt was doing?
That's the next. This is the group work passing drill. We have it full film.
Okay, great. And then the full field breakouts, which you're going to see also in a couple of minutes. And defensively, Coach explained know your spots before. For us, it's the corner, the over, floater, maverick, Boston, high and away. You can make up any vocabulary you want that helps your guys. We try to keep it short, 1 syllable, 2 syllables. We like to be monosyllabic or maybe polysyllabic if we need to, all right? I had to throw that in there. I had to let you know, man, I coach at Duke. I had to use some polysyllabic vocabulary right here, all right? Just some problem solving. I'm going to let this up to Ned and Coach. Yeah, let's do that, and then we'll do the problem solving and how do you fix some issues if you guys are having problems, handling the ball. So we'll get back to that. But I always get a kick out of who's watching and where guys are watching from, and we really appreciate you guys jumping in. Already we got folks on Long Island and Maryland and Indiana, and it's September, and you guys are I hope it helps. So thank you.
All right, so this is a simple diamond passing drill. So basically, it's hard to see the cones, but there's 2 cones in 4 areas of the field, top, X, wing to wing. I ensured that I told the guys, and they understood, that this is not a offensive spacing drill. Okay, so this is not for our motion, this is not where you stand in 6-on-6 offense. This is about learning to pass the ball fast on the perimeter. Okay, so this is really, that's what the spacing is for. The cones are for practicing our V-cut, driving in towards the cage, breaking out towards the sideline with your stick in your appropriate hand for our outside hand exchange. Right, so if you're catching it righty, you turn away from pressure and throw it lefty. If you're catching a lefty, you turn away from pressure and throw it righty, stick protection, all that good stuff. We want to catch it on the curl, meaning as we V-cut, we should be moving over our outside shoulder. Right, we want to run to the man we're passing to. And again, we're working on this, eradicating this fear of failure thing where we want to throw the ball as hard as you can on the perimeter, right? And if you don't pass it, we've got all the balls right here in the middle. The lines go to the inside, you drop it, guy at the end of the line picks it up, gives it to you, and just go again, right? Just go again, pick it up and go. You know, a lot of times the reason our guys aren't catching and throwing, you know, it's not a skill thing. It's either a concentration thing. It's either, you know, scared to look stupid in front of your teammates. You know, again, it's more between their ears than it is a physical thing. So, right, you see the lines there. Again, now today we didn't have the guys rotate lines. You stayed in your line because we were just focused on, again, the V-cut catch. Like, that's a bad. Can you rewind that? Sorry. Like, this is a bad job by this young Thundercat right here. See how he just stops and waits for it? No good, right? Time your V-cut up. You should be V-cutting as the person you're receiving it from is turning away from pressure, and you're always moving. It's a better job by that Thundercat right there, moving.
Right, which one, the cones too?
Yeah, they're hard to, like, they're right here. They're about 3 yards apart, right? It's hard to see on this wing, but they're in 4 spots. And again, like, so if we were playing offense, this would be too close to the end line for our liking, but for the drill, it's good because it needs to be, I just want that 10 to 15 yards of space, of area, right? Just practice the perimeter exchange passes, right? So everybody's, you know, focusing on moving to the ball, catching on the curl, running to the man they're passing to, you know, and it's that fine line of running to the man you're passing to and not over, you know, body going in the general direction that you're throwing it in. So, you know, and revo on the whistle.
What does revo mean?
Reverse the ball movement. Right, so you see it actually, it's a little tight to the end line there, and again, that's not what we want in 6-on-6, but this is a passing drill, this is not a 6-on-6 drill. Good.
That young man just got the ball to the inside, but still turn to the outside. And so that means that they're listening and they're paying attention. All right.
Coach, defense at the start. There you go.
Yep. Now we got the D side. Hey, while we get Coach Caputo coming up, we got some more guys here. I got to give them their props here for watching. Matt Schultz from Granville, Michigan, and we also have Chris Hess from Hillgrove Youth Lacrosse in Atlanta, Georgia. So, thanks, man. Thanks for growing the game.
All right. This is a like a headman drill we do. There's 3 lines on each side. The first thing we do, we're teaching kick and scoop on the base here. If you slow it down, Ed, these 2 sides are running 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3. A little kick the ball to where your hands can extend. And what we're asking the guys to do is to try to get the ball out of their stick before their stick raises. So you pick it up, you see the guy open, quick wrists, little headman, and what we're trying to do is when we're breaking over our shoulder, we're trying to throw the ball in front of each other's faces. So we want to be able to catch it and keep running instead of like running this way and then someone throws it and we got to do this, and it slows us down as well as exposes us. So if we can get it in front of each other's faces, we can break out and run. Now, it's not easy. Catching the ball over your shoulder is not easy. It's not practiced a lot in high school, even at the highest of levels. So we work on it a lot. Because if you can get out and just get a step on somebody and someone could lead you and throw you the ball that you don't have to slow down, you can get out and run. So every one of these guys, while the ball is in the air to the next one, is yelling headman and their name.
Headman, Matt. Headman, Ned. And then we're getting out. And they spend half the time, they'll be on this side for 3 minutes and then the other side for 3 minutes. The goalies do it, everybody does it. Kick, scoop, get it out, get it out. Right, well, we're calling it before we move. So we're saying headman, and then when he catches and his head turns around, we're breaking. And every cut is on a 45-degree angle. It's easier to throw a pass to someone who's breaking on a 45 than them running straight up the field. Over and over and over again. You got to get them comfortable catching. It used to be called the bad pass drill, but it's, right there, JT is working on his little flippy. Go back to that. His little flippy dippy. If you can pick it up righty and flip it out. Nice of him. He asked if he could do it. Can I work on that? I said, yeah, sure, go ahead.
And why? Why do you let him, Coach?
Well, I let them all try it once. Because what happens in a game is when there's a lot of bodies around, they're not going to pick it up with their weak hand. So if there's a lot of bodies around, they're going to pick it up with their strong hand, and sometimes that goose is the right play. But consistently, more often than not, if you're playing the percentages, you want to pick the ball up in your outside hand. Yeah, there's another flip. And it's like anything else. If you practice it enough, you'll get good at it. But you can get, I would say, 1, 2, 3, you can get in each spot twice in the course of the 3 or 4 minutes. It's a bunch of reps. All right.
Coach, what is the top defenseman do after the third catch? He just brings it back? Or does
He has to get it. No, it's over. Yeah, it's over.
All right. We're going to try. I don't know that we can hold this to 90 minutes, but we're going to give it a shot this year. Traditionally, we've gone 2 hours, and I don't know whether we've bored you to death. We're trying to make it a little tighter. A lot more video this year. Coach Crotty, I'm going to put Coach Crotty up, put him on the spot here. And we're going to talk a little bit about problem solving. Geez, what do you do? How do you fix somebody who's stick skills? What are you looking for? What are you looking at? Where do you start? And so, first, we talk about these 4 areas. Could it be the stick itself, physically? The stick, could it be their footwork? Could it be their hands? Or could it be, focus or concentration or so on? So I'm going to let Coach Crotty.
Yeah, so sometimes kids come out and they have absolutely no pocket or too big of a pocket. Halfway decent in terms of technique, but because of the way their stick was, they just had no chance. So, you always hear the phrase, what was it? It's the Indian, not the arrow. Not always the case. Sometimes the stick is screwed up, so you need to fix that. The other thing with stick work is hitting the wall. It's been around forever. Everybody always says it, and for a reason. Matt and Jordan Wolf do not enjoy shooting with me because I usually start on the wall for about 20 to 30 minutes before I start shooting. It's the best way to fix your stick. The next thing is your footwork. Are you stepping towards your target? We have guys still. They open themselves up and they step to the sideline and try to throw across their body. You have to step to your target every single time. It's a very simple thing to teach, a very simple thing to do, but if you don't do it, more often than not, you're going to end up throwing the ball away. Our hands, figuring out where our hands are. One of the biggest things that I see with guys, all right, when they put their hands back, their top hand, they squeeze it so tight on their stick that the head of the stick comes behind their head, which there's no reason to. If I've thrown with my right hand, my left shoulder is pointed to my target, the head of my stick should not be behind my head. That's not a beginner skill. It's not a beginner thing. It's just the proper way to throw the cross ball. There's no reason to come here because now I'm most likely going to come sidearm. So having my stick, the butt end of my stick pointed right at my target, and my head should be right behind that. There's a big difference between this and this with youth players, and even as you get older, and especially with their offhand. And that's usually what happens. They have kind of a tight grip on that top hand, and the stick does this. And now their motion is here instead of having a loose grip with that top hand, having the butt end kind of be pointed right at our target so I can just pull straight and snap. So that's the hands, and then also the focus. That's where the wall comes in. For me, just sit there and do the same motion over and over and over and over again until it feels right. Oftentimes, guys will string a stick and they go out and shoot, and it feels great. But I tell our guys all the time, you're going to pass the ball a hell of a lot more than you're ever going to shoot it. So sit on the wall, and if it doesn't pass right, then it's not a good stick. But the amount of guys, and you can see it here, first couple sessions, guys, you can tell went out, and they must have been firing the ball, and stinging corners, but they're throwing the ball at everybody's shoelaces, which is a quick way to have Coach 40 lose his mind. So hit the wall as much as you possibly can. Sit there on the wall and just do it over and over and over again. Focus on where your hands are. Look back at the head of your stick. If you're doing this, you're wrong. Here, pull and snap. And again, if the head of my stick is straight back, I pull straight forward, most likely the ball will go straight as well. Very simple things that can all be solved on the wall. It's an old thing. People probably get bored of hearing it, but the wall is pretty much the best thing you can do for your stick in the game of lacrosse.
Do we ever send anybody out of practice?
Yes, I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with Game of Thrones. For those of you who aren't, I apologize, but the night watch is on the wall. So when guys struggle a little bit in practice, the guys say, send to the night's watch. Send them to the wall.
All right. Give me a hit. All right, so just to get off the topic a little bit here, but it's not really, because you're really talking about the beginning of the year. We're talking about, your philosophy. What is your philosophy, and what, this word culture, we never knew we were establishing a culture when we first started coaching. It was the team, and this is how you did things. And, now there's books and leadership books and seminars and classes and majors that you can take, in developing, culture is a big word. So establish your culture, not ours, not, steal. We steal from everybody, but establish your own. It's part of the fun. It's why you choose to coach. And there are things that you're going to hold that are really important, that are your priorities, that you want to establish. And so for us, the Duke Lacrosse ethos, we've kind of just narrowed it down to these 5 areas. And the first thing is show up, and guys do that all the time, right? We never have to take attendance, which is kind of amazing when I still think about my career in total. But nobody ever shows up late, and the guys get to practice early, and they know that. And again, it's just an attitude, and it gets contagious. And when the older guys know and pass it down to the younger guys, it's easy. It makes it easier for us. Pay attention to details. What is the coach saying? What is the coach? Ask questions if you don't understand. But you got to pay attention. Pay attention means good eye contact. It means good body language, great posture. That you're engaged and that you care about what you're doing, and all those things that then are implied. Give great effort, or do your best. That's another way we say it, is just do your best, whatever that is. We have guys in the weight room. We had a young man the other day who, failed at 390. Yeah, 390 on the bench. He failed. To me, that's not really failing, but think about that. 390 for a lacrosse player. That's pretty good. But he failed on the last rep, and so he gave great effort, right, in trying to, in trying to lift that amount of weight. Care deeply about those around you. Care deeply about your teammates, your coaches, the support staff, all the people who are here, that are here to make you a better player. Care deeply about those, and then be a good person. What would a good person do in that situation? Hey man, I see one of my teammates, he's hanging his head. Hey, well, what would a good person do? If I care about him, would I take the time to talk to him? Would I yell at him? Maybe he needs to be yelled at. Maybe he needs to put your arm around him. Whatever it is. But those are the kind of things where we want to kind of just fall back on when we need to. And if guys aren't paying attention, we'll figure out how to get them to pay attention. Right? If the guys aren't giving great effort, again, we'll figure that out, but we can do those 5 things pretty much, and those 5 things carry over to a lot of different areas of your life. Could carry over to your schoolwork, and carry over to relationships and family life. That again, under the heading of keeping things simple. Let's not try to overcomplicate a lot. That's kind of how we try to build what it is that we do in the locker room, in the weight room, on the practice field, when we travel, when we're off the field and we represent the Duke Lacrosse program, and then certainly come game day. We like to live by that. So now we got contact drills. All right, let's go. Let's mix it up. Kids have been waiting, right? Some of these guys haven't had contact since last Memorial Day weekend. Some of them have played a little bit in the summertime, but haven't had any contact. So let's start to teach. Our teaching goals. Offensively, we want to gain possession. When the ball's on the ground, we want to go get it. Right? We've talked about that. Then we want to attack the goal. But also now, all of a sudden, we've got to we're talking about scooping and gaining possession of the ball, but now we've got to introduce new topics like draw and dump or drag and dump, and the coaches will take you through that. Defensively, it's the same thing. If you can, gain possession. And then if you gain possession, keep possession, because the drill we're going to show you, you're going to be automatically double teamed. And then defensively, we have to introduce what we call paint one, or defending, when the offense has the ball and you're by yourself, which is going to then be the basis of transition defense. When the opponent has an extra man, whether it's going to be paint two eventually, or paint 3, 4, 5, and so on. And then between the lines, which you'll see a little bit when we show you the last video, it's scoop, miss, scoop. It's like when you get a shampoo bottle and it says rinse and repeat, because they want you to rinse and repeat and use twice as much shampoo, so then you have to go out and buy a new bottle faster than if you just do it once. That's kind of the technique. So that's what we're going to go over right now. We're just going to show you some live drills, and then we're going to show you. We just scrimmaged today for about 20 minutes, right? It's the fall, and we really aren't ready to scrimmage in a lot of ways, but we're not worried about it because it's September 30th, first game February 1st. That's going to come soon enough, but we wanted the guys to have some fun. So we did that, and you're going to see then a lot of the things that we're talking about.
So this is a scrapping drill. All right, it's a 2-on-1 advantage drill. 2 guys from one team, 1 guy from another. Defensively, feet in the crease. Offensively, feet outside the crease. Coach Caputo likes to throw greasy ground balls to the offensive guys because he doesn't want them to be successful. So he makes them bounce, and they have to go up on a short hop. Where the defense has the advantage. So there's not a ton of success in this drill when Coach Caputo is the one rolling them out. When I roll them out, they're nice and smooth, and they're picked up a little easier. Right, so you'll see some greasy ones, on the short hop there. That's a good pickup. But it's a good job of getting above the ball, create a passing lane. Now, my boy 12 here, Kevin, he's a senior for us. He's a very excitable cat. Coach Caputo said, make him shoot from the white line, so that's what he does. He shoots from the white line. Ideally, we're looking for a dunk, right? We're trying to move the ball twice and get a layup. Kevin is an excitable cat. That's a nice check right there. See, that's not a great job, we don't think, of sprinting through the ground ball. As he stops his feet, he allows this guy just to, he tries to get his body from to shield him. He's going to check you anyway, right? You might as well sprint through the ground ball and get away from him rather than wait for him, right? So that was a good example of what not to do. But you see all the guys on offense have their sticks to the outside, right? That's a freshman right there getting abused by an older guy of not, playing a little fat, just running like this. He gets lifted up. He's not hiding his hands, showing him his back. Oh boy.
Matt, you want to talk about the bad job of getting in the mirror there, number 7?
Yeah, it's a bad job all around. But what he does, they just play monkey in the middle here, right? This guy shouldn't throw the pass, but he does, and 7 doesn't get in the mirror, and it's nothing good happens from this. But ideally, I'd like to see 7 get his shoulders above the defensive stick head a little bit. So he don't want to do it.
Coach Caputo, if you want to jump in on this as well and get the defensive part of this.
That's a good job of dragging it. So ideally what we like to see here, hopefully what we'll move towards is, it's a good ground ball and move it off the ground, which is great. So
Now, this he's got to be a threat to score somehow, right? And he's not going to get picked up out here, so we use a technique of drag and follow. So as he gets down to the edge of the paint, he starts to drag this way to space the defender out to go with him, right? So he does a good job of dragging. He reads the body language of the defender. Ideally, this would be caught and snapped back, right? And that's really hard for the defense to get back. First day, everybody wants to catch and shoot, and shoot a stick side high right in the goalie's stick. You know, the goalies need a little confidence too in this drill, I guess. I'm sure that's what Cam was doing there. But ideally, that would go right back, right? So that's a little look into the drag and follow thing we're trying to get towards. That was Coach Caputo rolling it to his son right there. He didn't want to see his son be successful, so defense clipped it.
See, right there, if you roll back, when you're down a man, there's two things you never want to do. Whether it's man down, you only have 3, it doesn't matter. You never want to collide, because if you collide, you're leaving everybody else out to dry. And you never want to turn your back on the ball. On turning the ball. And there's an attackman for us.
Freeze. Ooh.
And other than that, he actually does a decent job. We want to play one guy with our stick and the other guy with our body. So you see he's dragging his stick and he's playing one and he's got his stick in the lane and he's doing a good job of keeping both of them in his sight line. So if you look at this like if you were a gunfighter, you want to have guns on each guy. Okay?
Water guns.
Over your body.
Water guns.
Water guns.
Water guns.
Airsoft guns.
Airsoft guns. And we would say that this young man is a face-off guy for us, and he's not dragging down. See how he's kind of like has his body sideways, he's running into the defense. We like to see him rather kind of backpedal or sideways run this way. You gotta get wider as you get closer instead of running straight down, and it makes that pass pretty hard. Right? This is a tough pass to make as opposed to getting wider and closer to the goal.
And now I would say that while we turn the ball over, this is a great opportunity to continue the drill scrapping, meaning that's realistic. You're going to miss passes in games, so if you miss it, go chase it. And White attackman does a nice job of just continuing to ride.
That's a nice job. By the offense, at least.
One coach is never happy. One coach is happy, the other coach is not. And that's also part of the
So, this is, probably you lament as a coach. So remember I said earlier, we don't teach picking up ground balls. That guy's backhand was really high, right? And then, he duffed it, right? So we got to do a better job of getting his backhand low. He's a big kid. He's got to bend his knees, he's got to bend his hips a little bit and run through it.
Even as if you were one that, go back to the original. Is a young guy here, we talked about having both your hands below your knees. He doesn't. He's not successful. Okay? And at our level, you get one shot at it. And there's going to be some pressure. There's very few ground balls where nobody's near you at our level. And here's another young guy with only one hand below his knees. And he's not successful. So it's very easy for me to show the video to them and say, hey, listen, your way stinks. Doesn't work. Drop your hands below your knees and run through the ball. This is realistic. There's a lot of scrapping going on.
So this is an example of not getting in the mirror, right? So we picked the ball up down here, and he just runs that way where he should just be right here, and then he can drag it down, and he can follow it. Again, this 41's a young cat for us. This is his first time doing the drill ever, so we wouldn't expect him to know it, but it turns into a little bit of a disaster there spacing-wise.
So 2 or more, tough situation for a defensive player. You need them to make a bit of a mistake. If they do it right, they should either score or chance. But what you're teaching the guys is if you can keep yourself between the 2 of them and make them think a little bit. Don't make it so obvious by running at one of them so that he can dump it to the other one for a goal. If you can make them think a little bit, stay between. If they do make a mistake, like Coach just said, and they get too close together, boom, you got to stop. This situation, it doesn't happen like this in a game, but it happens in a small area where you're covering 2 guys for a second. And if you can make them think a little bit and slow them down, you have a chance to get your players back in position to make a play. So, although it's not realistic, it is.
Again, that's a bad job of getting both hands below your knees.
I tossed them. Hey, these guys just got that though.
That was a bumpy toss.
All right, let's move on to the scrimmage, and then we'll call it a night. Yeah, we're going to show full field breakout. Yes, full field breakout is going to be next. And then, but first we got St. Joseph's Regional from Montvale, New Jersey. The Juice is watching it from his basement in Baltimore, Maryland. And that's awesome. And I think if this is the one and the only, Joel White is watching as well. So again, thanks everybody. All right, full field breakouts. Now, we call this running up the line, meaning defensemen, middies, face-off guys, everybody. The only people we have down here are the attack, and down here in this line. So you're going to go from the base to up top. So everybody's got to know everything. So you could be a face-off guy here. You could be a short stick offensive midi here. You could be an LSM here. You could be a close defenseman here. But everybody has to know how to break out. So now we took that half field drill that you saw before with the breakouts that Coach is working on, and now we're making it full field. Again, under the heading of let's teach everybody everything, and let's get them to figure out how to play. We got Coach Crotty rolling out the ball. This is what we call a quick strike, where we throw it over the top and leads to a 4-on-3. So now we're getting disguised, we're getting ball handling, we're getting spacing, we're getting conditioning, we're running. We're getting a lot of different things. We're getting some more now realistic game situations. So sometimes Coach will, right? It's a rebound, right? We look away, move the ball in the air, and once again the attackman is yelling draw, and that leads to a 4-on-3. There's your headman that Coach worked on before in those drills with the 2 passes, and now again it's a 4-on-3. Again, the guys who are on the base are now moving up to midfield. 3 guys now are getting online, and they're going to the base. Guys who are finishing are coming back online this way. Guys are handling the ball left-handed, right-handed. They're catching the ball over their shoulders. They're catching it on the run. We kind of, that's a little bit standing still. That's feeding, right? And then let's go back to that last one, Ned. Okay, this is somewhat standing still, but we kind of have a rule. If you're standing still, you're doing something wrong on the field. And we also can incorporate swarming right now if somebody drops the ball on the offensive end. So the swarming drill we did before can be incorporated in this. Go ahead, the breakouts are happening. You can roll the ball to the corner. You can simulate a goalie save. There's a ground ball, headman, right up the alley, and once again, a 4-on-3. And so it leads us to, eventually we'll get to some 5-on-4s and what we call down the side or express offense. But right now, I think we'll just hit it with that, Ned, and we'll just move to the, but again, it's ball handling. This is a drill that we'll do pre-game. This is a drill that we'll do 10 minutes a day. We may start practice with this. We always try to start with some sort of skeleton game-like. We try not to do line drills. Just don't like them. Kids have been doing line drills forever. And it should be, and we'll get a little bit of scrimmage time. And we're going to just show you all the different, oh, that's from the other day. Okay. Yeah, once today, if we have it. Didn't have it, they had class, right? And that's what goes on here at Duke. Manager has class, he goes. All right, he's an engineer, and he's a senior, and he's got to go to class. All right, as we like to say around here, no, I don't say, I only use that one. All right, here we go. So right now, let's watch some of the things that we've been talking about. right? Scrapping, going after ground balls, right? Just run through them. And you're going to get a lot of that, right? So, you know, ball handling, playing with your head up, spacing, exchange passes. Guys are talking to one another. Right, we call that a forward pass. That's an exchange pass. Ground ball. Missed shot is a missed shot is a ground ball. Right? So that's important. Exchange pass. That's a through pass. Was picked off. So defensively now, right? Run. That's kind of saucy, but you know, we don't mind. He made it with his left hand. If we were to, if you know, you were to chart an entire game, what would the ratio be of passes, exchange passes to feeds, feeds to shots? You know, it would probably be what? For a player. Ned, what would you think? 15 to 1? Yeah. You know, 15 exchange passes in a game to 1 shot. You know, to maybe 2 or 3 feeds. So the ability to simply exchange the ball from top to wing, wing to X, offensive players do that more than shoot. And so how important that is, you know, for them to be able to do that well and maintain possession. Okay, ground ball, move it off the ground. Move it twice. Move it twice, attack the cage. Exchange pass, another ground ball. Move it off the ground. Exchange pass, and exchange, and you get the idea that how important those repetitions are in the skeleton drills in order to be able to exchange the ball. That's a feed. Right, ground ball on the defense. Okay, exchange pass, turn to the outside. Exchange. Now the blue team is subbing, so they want to control the ball a little bit. Right, pretty good ball movement, and ends up with a feed. So there were, what, 5, 6, 7, 8 exchange passes before we had a feed and a shot. So the idea of today's kind of clinic was everything starts with the fundamentals. It starts with ground balls. It starts with ball handling. We want to pick up the ball with both right and left hands. We want to handle the ball with both right and left hands on both the offense and defensive side. We want to show the guys, you know, the things that we consider to be part of our culture that are fundamentally sound, and so that our older guys can become those leaders and demand that of the younger players. And that's when you know that, you know, your coaching is a little bit easier when your older guys, you know, really buy into what you're teaching. And there we go. We'll end with that. You know, one of the things, again, that let's just kind of finish up here with thinking about where our students are coming from. You know, between social media, right in the middle of football season now, right? And everybody's got an opinion. You know, everybody's got an opinion about the performances from this weekend. And it's like, you know, this guy is not any good. This guy is great. This guy is, everybody's, you know, willing to anoint, you know, we want to anoint Clemson as the greatest football team, you know, in the country. And now people are saying, well, maybe they're not so great. Well, they won the game. Let's let the kids play the games and have the games, you know, have the seasons figure themselves out. And I guess because people have jobs Monday through Friday and they want to, you know, they want to critique every little thing that goes on. And those are the voices that our guys are constantly hearing. And so, you know, it makes it really difficult for those guys, you know, for our guys, for your kids as well, to really understand about how playing a role is so important, about humility, teamwork, you know, unselfishness, the things that, you know, we really all put a huge value on. That's the stuff that's not really talked about during the week. That doesn't make it to SportsCenter top 10. And so, you know, we constantly have to work really hard to fight, you know, some of those outside voices, you know, that our students are constantly, you know, being bombarded with. And so, you know, our guys are not any different, you know, from your players, you know, when it comes to that. Do we have a last one or no? That was, this was it. So, yeah, this was the fundamentals in action, right? Watching the offense then, scooping, getting in the mirror, moving it off the ground, exchange passes. You know, do they have the correct hands? You know, we can always, you know, especially if you turn the ball over. Now, if you don't turn it over, here's another question. Do you let something slide because it worked? All right, that's always a coaching question. You know, well, it may not work against a superior opponent. It may not work on another day. And then as a coach, you've got to decide that, all right, I'm not going to make a big deal out of that one. But you probably have to make a big deal out of that one because on another day, that student is going to fail because we let something, you know, we let him slide in a particular situation. Defensively, you saw scooping and running to daylight. You saw headman, overpasses, redirect, paint one. And you're always looking for teaching opportunities. You're always teaching. You're always like, you know, demanding and looking, and, you know, you're never quite satisfied. You know, even like I was watching the other day, I was watching, who was it, UConn and UCF, and I was thinking about Coach Etzel from Connecticut, and they were getting whacked in the first half, and he's got to keep coaching. You know, not just because you get paid, because it's the right thing to do. And so you got to keep working and keep looking for those teaching opportunities because you're always looking to get everybody better, whether it's an individual or a group or certainly your team. So we want to thank everybody from watching from all over the country. We want to thank Meredith Reeder. Phenomenal job. She is production, direction, camera, audio, and organizer. Because originally we were going to have this tomorrow night, and she decided that we're going to do it tonight, all right, on Monday night. So she's our scheduler. She does it all. Meredith, thank you so much for putting in the time. I forget, how much extra do you get paid for this?
Pride.
Just pride. Boy, I tell you what, man, that makes me feel really good about our staff here. So thanks to Coach Ned Crotty, Coach Ron Caputo, Coach Matt Danowski. We'll see you in October. Signing off. Peace out. And thanks to the guys for coming here tonight.